Tush Push major story, and I think let me frame it this way. I get 3 reactions to it. I'm going to start with this. I think it's a major win, not a minor. I think it's a major win. I think the Tush Push helps the Eagles win 1 or 2 games a year, maybe even 3. Can't prove it. But I
think that's a little.
3 might be a lot. 3 might be more than. But I think it does.
You're digging in a little deeper.
Here's what I'll say. I think it gets them a win or 2 a year.
It helps them convert a few extra first downs a year that they would not even try to convert.
Correct.
I think that's the key. They would not even be attempting that 4th down conversion or that 3rd down conversion or even calling that 1st down play that way.
I agree, John.
If it weren't for this play.
So I'm obviously fascinated to know what is your reaction, and I'm curious, are you in the surprised category or the shocked category based on the clamor that it's been out there the last couple months, and certainly the sentiment that was around yesterday from many that thought it would be gone? I was one of them. I am not shocked that it stayed. I am surprised that it stayed. But what your reaction, 215-592-9494. John, I got three main reactions. 1, major victory. Like, just case in point, and I mean this is no disrespect to this guy. I think it's more important than, like, if we found out yesterday Reed Blankenship's out for the year. Reed, if you're listening, buddy, dude,
don't say that.
I honestly mean no offense to that. I think
you're in so much trouble.
No, he's turned into a solid player. But, like, I actually think this is a major win for that's my main reaction. Major win. Not minor, major. Second reaction, I do think the league got it wrong. You guys that have listened to me the last couple of weeks and, frankly, the last couple of years know I think it should have been, in my opinion, legislated out, but it wasn't, and good for the Eagles. Point 3, and this one is a big point also, a tremendous victory elevating the legendary status of Jason Kelce and Jeffrey Lurie.
Without a doubt.
Major victory. And what a great job by these guys. Are you kidding me?
I mean, just bringing Kelce there, just the idea of and honestly, as a Philadelphian and as an Eagles fan, I appreciate how hard they fought for this.
Of course.
It means a lot.
So, we've talked about, and people agree, and I grew up with Ed Snyder as the best owner in sports. There's no question locally. There's no question. And Jeffrey Lurie is right there with Ed Snyder from a historical standpoint of, both have won 2 championships in Philadelphia. Both had for, the bulk of their tenure sustained success for the franchise. You're not going to win the title every year, but you want to be in the hunt much more often than not. Snyder's Flyers were. Lurie's Eagles are. So I just look at this one as another feather in the cap of Jeffrey Lurie, and a really big one, by the way. And then for Kelce to come in 1 year after retiring and help his organization, that's major, man. So while I do think the league got it wrong, as an Eagles fan, I am pumped up with enthusiasm because I think it was a phenomenal day for the Eagles. John, your thoughts?
We can be a greater version of the Eagles with the push working for us again. It makes us more aggressive in every way. I love that. I find it really interesting to look at only 2 NFC teams who voted. There are only 2 NFC teams who voted to keep this play beside the Eagles, and it's the Saints who have Kellen Moore as their head coach now. So good for them. Good for Kellen Moore, by the way. And the Detroit Lions.
You respect that, don't you,
I respect that so much. That's tough by Dan Campbell. Yep. That's tough by his organization. And they're the only team on our schedule this season who said yes to the Tush Push. The Detroit Lions said, we don't care if you run it or not. We're going to try to stop it. And I respect that so much. Dan Campbell is going to use that as Dan Campbell's insane enough. He's probably looking forward to how crazy that's going to be when he gets to use it to prepare his team all week long to get ready for us. They're going to say, hey, we're going to stop it. And that's the game, Joe, where you're going to see all sorts of crazy stuff off of the Tush Push looks, the personnel groupings, the formations, the down and distance expectations. That's when you'll see the end around or the flip behind the line of scrimmage and the pass downfield. Different stuff. That's why this play can be exciting. and it blows a hole in that nonsense you were saying yesterday. I'm excited to see where it goes, because I do think you'll see those permutations this year. But man, good for the other tough team. And really, let's be honest. I lost a lot of respect for the 49ers over the last couple seasons because of just their outlook and the way that they've dealt with adversity, and the way that they've dealt with us, I guess.
Sure.
This was very admirable by the Detroit Lions, and they continue to be the other tough team in the NFL.
Well, listen,
a team whose owners backed their coach, because there were a few owners like Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, all these guys come out publicly, and Mike Tomlin, all these guys are like, hey, this shouldn't go, and then their owners did not back them publicly. Dan Campbell's one of the few owners who backed his guy.
Here's what would be fascinating to know. We may find out someday. My guess is we will probably never find out. Did any owners flip their vote yesterday after the 1 hour impassioned plea by Jeffrey Lurie and the additional by Jason Kelce? Were minds totally made up entering that room, and this is the way the vote would have gone, or did those guys actually, in the final hour, save the tush push? And I got to tell you, I tend to think that in the final hour they saved the tush push. That's my gut feeling. It's my gut feeling. So I just have tremendous respect for Kelce and Lurie, obviously. What the Eagles have been doing for recent years has been masterful, and this is a big part of it. And, it's a feather in the cap of Stoutland, Kelce, Juergens, Lane Johnson, or not Lane as much on that side, Mulata, Dickerson, the left side of the line, what those guys do. I'm not trying to take away from Lane on the right side, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, the Eagles run left with it, and Hurts, obviously, and Goddard, everyone that's involved in it in the major ways. What a thing. And John, your point about Dan Campbell, I agree with you. And I want to play some audio of Dan Campbell that I think will get people to respect him even more. Let's listen. After the vote came down yesterday, Dan Campbell commented on it publicly. Mad props to this guy. Here's what he said.
I'm like, hey, man, they've like Philly obviously is known for this because, they're the ones who've really kind of perfected it and done it, do it over and over. And I'm like, man, good for them, man. If you got something, we got to stop it. So, to me, leave it in. And, we play them this year. We got to find a way to stop it. And I like that.
That's, John, that is your kind of guy, man.
He's been this way from day one. He's been this way from the get-go, and it's been awesome for the league. It's been awesome
I agree with that.
To bring back some old school. I know everything's changing and players are different, but he's retaining some of the stuff that really matters.
So I'm going to tell you, and again, we want to hear from you, 215-592-9494, and please also consider coming to the table on the Phils. I mean, what they're doing these days is awesome. Best record in the National League, 6 in a row. Harper's on fire. Trey is playing great, so all of that on the table. But one more tush push comment I want to make, and I think it's important, and I actually think it's the one thing Dan Campbell kind of got wrong with the way he presented it when he talked about, we got to stop it. I actually don't think that's really the challenge for the other 31 teams. I don't think the challenge is to stop it. I think the challenge is to do it. That's the one thing I'll say that I disagree with the way a lot of people nationally frame this. I don't think the challenge is to stop it because I'm going to be candid. I don't think teams will stop it. Meaning more than the 5% or so of times that they pull it off. The 2 or 3 times a year where teams actually stop it. That's not stopping it. I think the real challenge for teams is going to be doing it on offense.
I mean, I don't think defensive coaches look at the defensive coaches are going to come up with all sorts of new ideas.
I don't think so.
Honestly, it's the best way to get rid of it for all these people is if it becomes an unstoppable play across the league, then it takes away drama from the game, en masse.
I think that look for that over the next 2 to 3 years.
So I am 100% with you.
Because they're not going to stop Hurts and Dickerson, and they're not going to do that. I mean, Mulata, they're not going to stop it.
Not at a consistent enough rate.
They're not going to. 215-592-9494. All right, your thoughts on the tush push. What a development for the Eagles. Really a great one. We'll get into the Phils, a lot more coming up. Your phone calls on all these topics. What a day. Joe DeCamara and John Ritchie. Remember, Jahad Campbell, 7:25 today.